Look at the sky for a moment. You expect softness, cotton white shapes drifting without weight, harmless, quiet, untouchable. But imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering the clouds aren't made of vapor anymore. They're metal. Not metal planes, not machines, actual metallic clouds hanging over us like polished steel continents, drifting in slow motion, reflecting sunlight like shattered mirrors. The sky stops being the safest thing you know and becomes a suspended disaster waiting to fall. The moment clouds turn metallic, the world doesn't just change, it becomes hostile. Rain doesn't fall as droplets, it falls as razor-sharp shards. Storms don't bring water, they bring shrapnel. A gentle drizzle becomes a lethal event. Lightning doesn't flash, it welds, forging molten patterns across the atmosphere like a giant cosmic arc furnace. Sound behaves differently because metal doesn't absorb it echoes. Every thunderclap becomes a cannon blast bouncing through a steel sky. Flight, as you know, it dies instantly. Planes cannot pass through solid clouds of iron and aluminum. Their wings would shear, their engines would tear, their entire structure would shred like paper in a blender. Birds drop too, their evolutionary advantage erased in a single chemical rewrite of the atmosphere. The sky, something wings once trusted, has turned into a ceiling that crushes anything that enters it. And as strange as that sounds, we're only at the beginning. Metallic clouds wouldn't float like vapor. They would be heavy, so heavy that gravity eventually wins. Sections of the sky would fall in slow, terrifying avalanches. Imagine looking up and seeing a piece of cloud the size of a building peeling off, tumbling downward, glowing with heat from friction, breaking apart into thousands of metallic fragments. Weather forecasts stop being predictions and become evacuation warnings. Umbrellas are useless. Rooftops are war zones. Cars sound like they're being shelled in slow motion. Even a light wind becomes lethal because gusts turn metal dust into airborne blades. But physics doesn't stop there. If clouds are metal, that means the atmosphere's chemistry has changed. Oxygen, nitrogen, and water vapor aren't behaving normally anymore. You're breathing microscopic flakes of what used to be the sky. Every breath scratches. Every inhale feels like dragging your lungs across sandpaper. And inside your bloodstream, metallic particles begin to accumulate, interfering with cells, damaging tissue, turning the act of breathing into an act of corrosion. Sunlight no longer passes through the sky, it bounces off it. Days become too bright to look at and yet too dark to live in. Shadows vanish because reflections scatter light evenly, turning the world into a silver glow with no direction, no gradient, just an endless metallic haze. Photosynthesis collapses. Plants cannot absorb light properly. Ecosystems suffocate, not because there is no air, but because the sky became a mirror. Over time, the earth below changes too. Metallic dust settles into soil, into water, into the bodies of every living thing. Rivers become mercury-colored. Trees develop metallic film across their leaves. Animals breathe glittering poison. And in those conditions, a terrifying realization hits you. If clouds can become metal, the atmosphere itself can change form. That means the sky is no longer stable, it is evolving. The world is crossing a line from natural physics into industrial physics, where the atmosphere isn't fluid anymore, it's material. And if the sky can harden, what else can? What happens when the oceans begin to bind with metal? What happens when bones absorb metallic elements? What happens when the space between Earth and universe becomes a sheet of drifting steel instead of breathing air? The real horror isn't the metal itself, it's that something we believed could never change just did. The sky was our last symbol of softness, the last place we trusted to stay light. And now it crushes, blinds, reflects, cuts, and falls. So the real question isn't, what would happen if clouds were made of metal? It's what happens to us when the softest thing in nature becomes the hardest. If that thought stays with you, if looking up suddenly feels different, then you're already one of us. Welcome to the Nexus Point. Stay curious, stay awake, and the next time you step outside, remember that even the sky isn't guaranteed to stay gentle.